Got the recording going, which is good. I oftentimes forget to do that. And then people are mad at me because I promised I'd record it and then I forgot. I've been known to do that several times. So got that out of the way this morning, which is good. All right, let's see. I'm going to just hop onto Facebook here real quick and make sure that the link is visible. There it is. All right. Let's see if Michael found it. Okay. All right. Let me see something here.
I need to open one of those.
All right. Hey, there's Michael Martin. Nice.
The camera that they're using on the whiteboard, can they zoom it in a little closer?
Yeah, I don't know if it can zoom more, but there'll be a full screen view once we start the actual training, and so that'll help. When they're full screen, it's actually fairly easy to see, and they'll be narrating us through it as well. So. Yeah, you can see good once it's full screen, Barbara. So I'm going to give it another couple minutes. We had a lot of RSVPs. There's not that many of us on yet. So as we, I'm sure, get to the top of the hour and maybe just past it. Hey, did you guys notice, does Facebook, I think I've seen Facebook starting to do this when you've RSVP'd for a Facebook event in your news feed as you're getting close to the time for the event, it kind of shows it like a post. Did any of you guys see that today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, good. So that'll serve as a reminder for, I'm sure, a lot of the attendees. So yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes, and I'll introduce these two studs that are going to be sharing some great info with us this morning, and then we'll hand it off to them. Hey, Bree. Good to see you this morning. Treasure, great to see you on here. Oh, who's calling me? Oh, Mark. I swear I'm changing my number. Oh my gosh. Dawn, welcome. I don't know who LG K30 is. Someone's watching from their LG phone and it's labeled as K30. I apologize. I don't know who that is, but good morning and welcome to the training. All right, let's see. It's kind of cool. I'm using a different mode in my on my end on Zoom. I like it. It's like a different screen than I normally use. And I'm using Jolene's computer. That might have something to do with it. So what's everybody got on store for their Saturday after this?
Teamsy. A birthday party for my grandson.
Okay.
At my house.
Oh, nice. All right. We got a little teamsy, little birthday party. There's Cheryl Smith. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning.
Great to see you on here.
Sharing the plan with some friends tonight.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Great job, Bree. That's wonderful. We will be driving up to East Tennessee actually later today to Christy Sampson's to do a meeting.
Could they move the whiteboard to the right a little bit to get rid of the glare on the top?
That looks like they're going to try.
That's better. Thank you.
Look at that. Ask and you shall receive, Nancy, too.
I'm asking a lot.
Hey, we have not because we ask not, right? That's funny. All right. So we'll give it, let's see, we're 2 minutes past the top of the hour. We are recording. So I think we're going to go ahead and get this rolling. Give me a second here. Let me get everybody muted as best as I can. Okay, mute all. Well, we're not going to let you guys unmute yourselves. Sorry. And all right, let's see. Shuttle PC. We're going to unmute you guys. We're going to hand it off to you. Actually, wait, I'm going to introduce you first. All right, so we're going to get this going with us today, you guys. I'm privileged. I'm excited. It's a blessing to get to introduce these guys. We've got Brock Fortner. Brock waved to everybody so they know who I'm talking about. Perfect. And we've got Trent Fortner. Trent, say hello. Perfect. And so, you guys, we were just incredibly blessed to cross paths. Actually, I got to give Jolene credit. Jolene was out at a networking meeting and met Brock. And it's rare that Jolene comes home with a heightened level of exuberance about anyone in particular. You know, we go to these meetups and they're great and they're, you know, they're valuable and we meet a lot of great people, but every once in a while we'll meet someone exceptional. And Jolene came home after this particular meetup and she was starting to describe Brock to me and just was like, I can't wait for you to meet him. He's such an exceptional person and just really, really sharp. And, you know, we're going to schedule another meeting and make sure you get a chance to meet Brock. And so that occurred maybe a week or a week and a half later. We had another meeting and I went to that one as well. Got to meet Brock and I concur. Jolene was not exaggerating. This guy's a really, really cool guy, sharp. And we had a great conversation and then we agreed that maybe the next step was that Brock would also introduce us to his dad, who's phenomenal, and that's Trent there in the black shirt. And these guys are incredible. They have a heart for helping people, so they're a perfect fit into what we're doing here with Paseo. And you guys have heard us make, you know, just very brief references to the fact that when you own a home-based business, there are significant tax benefits. And then on top of that, obviously, this is just one part of, right? Your Paseo business is only one part of your overall financial picture. There are several additional extenuating components that each of us need to be aware of if we're going to really get the outcome that we want from building a Paseo business. And what I mean by that is this: the outcome as in financial peace of mind, the outcome as in putting security around our assets so that we have asset protection, the outcome as in maximizing tax shelter and tax benefits. And so there's a lot more to this picture. And as we all strive to be good stewards, you know, of what we're blessed with to even have access to a Paseo business, and as we all move down that path of wanting to, you know, we talk about all the time in Paseo things like legacy, right? Well, part of leaving a legacy is planning correctly and is having the right components into place so that we're not leaving like gaping holes in our overall financial picture, and so that we're actually accomplishing what we set out to do. So, you know, Trent's got a 30-year background in this space. He's a phenomenal leader of people. And then Brock is his son, who's an incredibly quick study. Brock is getting started. However, as we know from Paseo, right, you can radically accelerate your learning curve when you've got the right mentors. And so it's fun to see what Brock and Trent are doing together. It's fun to see how Brock's already, you know, really been able to gain a skill set to help people, you know, with their overall financial strategy. And so I'm just thrilled to sit alongside the rest of you guys and learn from these two. And so I'm going to go ahead and hand the presenter mode off to them. Let's see. And then they're going to take us away here. Here it is right here. All right. And make host. And yes. All right. It should be Brock, Trent. It should be all yours.
Fantastic. Can you hear us okay?
Yep. Can hear you guys loud and clear.
Thank you. Yep. Can you raise our screen so we can see us a little better? All right. So one of the things we want to say right off the bat is thank you so much for, one, the introduction, but two, the relationship that we're building. We want to say thank you for inviting us into the Paseo family to begin with. Brock was excited about that, introduced me to you guys, and I've got to say, in the short period of time that we've known each other, that and the people that we've met, that we are excited about this opportunity as well to share that with you. So thank you for that. And I could not be more proud of what you said about Brock. So Brock is one of 3 of my sons, and my wife, Krista, and we've taken great pride in these boys, and Brock's taken a path while he's in college and working through this as well. It's just very heartwarming to hear those stories that you're giving back to us. So thank you. Brock, is there anything you'd like to say before we dive in?
No, let's go ahead and get started.
All right, good. So I noticed that Brock makes sure that when he has something to say, it's really important. So he stores those words up pretty well. So here's what we're going to do this morning. I've got a list I'm looking at of things, of topics that we said we were going to discuss this morning. And I want to start off with the discussion of knowing what your greatest asset really is. And being in the financial world for 30 years, I've gained a lot of wisdom. And you gain wisdom through experience. And experience is both good experience and bad experience. In fact, the way you get to master your good experiences is by living through some decisions that you make, that you have to learn how to do things properly. Taxes is one of those areas that we all need to attack. So let's talk for a moment about that greatest asset. You are your greatest asset. You might think it's your business. You might think that it's the home that you own. You might think that it's your 401k if you work for another employer. But the truth is, you are your greatest asset. And we have to first learn the value that we deliver to other people in this world through our social capital, our relationship capital, our experiences. And that legacy that Ryan was referring to earlier is the legacy of the lessons that we live through our life, that we share, and the assets that we enjoy and pass on over a lifetime. But you have to know that you are your greatest asset. So before you can be phenomenal in the Vaseo business, before you can be phenomenal in any other area of your life, you have to determine what is your human life value. And it's not necessarily a number. Your human life value is based upon how you decide to share your talents and your skills that you've been blessed with into the world. And how you're going to demonstrate that and protect that as life goes on, so that you can create a lasting impact on the communities, the families, and the world that you want to influence and change and improve. After your human life value is discovered in your life, then we have to determine how to best share those skills with other like-minded people to advance their human life value. That's one of the reasons that I was attracted, and if I say I, Brock, I mean we. The reason we were attracted to the opportunity is through the leverage of human relationships to maximize the opportunity of what that human life value can be. Now, in a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some specific tax improvements that you may have available. We're going to talk about a potential system that you might want to put in place at some point, just to discover how your financial life might work. I think another time would be very perfect for Brock to be able to share how those skills work for you individually. But we're going to introduce some great concepts to you today. And Ryan, one of the things I think might be a great idea as we move through life together is we have an opportunity to discuss financial literacy. I'm very clear on the type of groups that we have that join an opportunity like that. It's going to be people who are brand new into their own business, or it's going to be people who are experienced in business and have a different mindset on how you handle your financial life. It's also going to be people who already have jobs someplace else, who are looking for whatever reason in their life to add on a secondary approach in business, and we need to know how to optimize those opportunities. All right, so let's talk about, I'm going to try to draw on the board. I need to know, Ryan, we can see you, so if you if you can see the board when we write on it or not, just let us know if it's clear. But one of the things that we need to talk about right off the bat is what type of income do you have? Now, if you work for an employer, can you see that? It says W-2. Kind of, sort of, okay. What we'll do is we'll make sure we can follow up. If you want to have people, let's do this. I'm going to write Brock's email address down, okay? So after this meeting, if you need additional information, reach out to Brock at brock4tnr@gmail.com. Pick up the whole board. Hopefully you can see that. All right. So after the meeting, if you want follow-up information of everything that we talk about, resources, additional steps, where to go get help if you need an accountant or an attorney or an advisor, Brock will help you with that. Okay? That's the most clear thing you see on that. So let's talk about the two types of income. Okay? One other thing, Ryan, I'm sorry, hold up. How much time do we have for the meeting today? I didn't know that too. 1 hour. Got it. Okay. So you're also my clock manager. All right. All right. So there's two types of income that we want to talk about right off the bat. There's a W-2 income. That's the income that when you work for an employer, they pay you an hourly wage or a salary. And when they pay you that income, then you have deductions that come out of your check before you get it. And a lot of the accountability for your taxes are handled through your employer's side through the deductions. Now, in this type of business, the type of income that you receive, for most of us, is going to be 1099 income. And that 1099 income is an income, sometimes it says miscellaneous income on your tax return. That's when you receive an income for your independent contractor status, and you would report that income on your taxes as revenue comes in. And that could be things like interest, dividends, the net income that they'll show as a statement, 1099 statement to you for income. But now you're also a business owner. And as a business owner, you get some benefits of how you are taxed on the incomes that you receive. And what that means is the Viseo incomes, they're not withholding taxes, right, from the checks that you receive. So when you get that, it's going to be up to you to maximize what your opportunities are. There's equipment that you get to use in this business. And if you're using your cell phones and your computers and your internet service to do meetings like we're doing today, if you're doing that at least, it's an average of, I think it's 30 minutes a day or 5 days a week, that would qualify you for being in business. So what does that say? You need to log the time that you spend in your business. So the number one rule in the tax code is you have to have evidence and proof of the deductions that you'll take. They will take your word for it. But if they need to come do an audit, then you have to prove that, okay? And being in business for yourself does not necessarily mean you'll be audited. I have been audited, but only once out of 30 years, okay? But it helps for you to know what these deductions can be. So if you are purchasing equipment to use in your business, computers, cell phones, earpieces, I have one in my pocket that I use, hand-free pieces. Even though you may use them personally, if you use them in your business, you can deduct most of or all of those expenses in the year that you put them in use. Some of your more prominent expenses, like furniture for your office, monitors for and it could be a big screen television that's connected to your computer, like we're using in this office that we're in today. If you're using that for presentations and you can record like we are today, you have evidence that you're using this type of equipment in your business. And you can depreciate, that's a complicated issue, but you can depreciate some of these assets. Your vehicle that you purchase, Some of you, if you bought a new vehicle, if you're earning, most people don't know this, but if you earn less than $315,000 in a year, and you're married filing jointly on your taxes, you know those big SUVs? I've got a couple. There you go, Ryan nodding and raising his hand. If you were to purchase that, because of depreciation schedules, if it's over 6,000 pounds, like most Yukons are, and those type of things like I have, you could deduct the entire $72,000 purchase price in the year through accelerated depreciation. There's some rules you have to follow. You know, I'm not a tax accountant myself, but you need to have one that will show you those rules. I have those rules. We can direct you to those people that handle that for you. If you have a business at home, this is the biggest, probably one of the biggest deductions that you can have in your Vaseo business that most people just don't use. If you have a dedicated space in your home for maybe inventory, if you keep inventory for your samples, if you can demonstrate that you use that area for your home. So let's say you had a 2,500 square foot home, 2,000 square foot home, and you go into your office space, and let's say that's 10 by 20. That's a 200 square foot space in your home. If you are doing exclusively your business from home for your Vaseo business, then you can write off that square footage on utilities, on your mortgage interest, separate from your mortgage interest, the deductible expense. Some of the insurance premiums you pay for your home, for homeowners insurance, could also be deducted for that. So it's a percentage, but you have to make sure that you have a dedicated space. Let's say you have this huge bonus room in your basement, and you've got a pool table down there, and you've got all kinds of stuff down there, and occasionally you go down there and do business. Well, you got to make sure that you have dedicated space. Can't write off the entire bonus room. Only the areas that you're going to mark off as your business experience. Here's another good one. Let's say that you have a business at home, a home office, but yet you have another office that maybe you rent someplace else so that you have to go to do business. Well, when you leave your home to drive to that first stop, that's part of your mileage deductions that you can get, and to help keep up with your mileage through this process. That's a very valuable expense. Most people don't keep up with their mileage, but again, you have to log it. There's some great apps out there that you can use on your phone that will help you deduct your mileage. There's been some changes on what you can deduct on meals and entertainment, but for the most part, you can deduct about 50% of your bill if you are specifically talking about business. So those lunches that Brian and Brock have had with us in the last 3 or 4 times, and we keep swapping about who's in charge of that, we're going to get to deduct at least half of that. And you need to write down there the date that you met, which is probably right on the transaction receipt, who you met with, and what you discussed. And if it was specifically for business or partially for business, and you discussed it, then you will be able to accumulate those receipts and use that as deductions as well. There's other things that you can deduct for office supplies that you're probably buying in for your normal life that you're not deducting for business. You know, paper, copiers, printers, pens and pencils, toilet paper for your office. All of those kind of things add up and can be shared in your business deductions. Very important pieces. When you file, if you have a business name, if you have a website, your Vaseo expenses, all of those things can be included in the deductions against the income, so that when you look at this, you're going to come to a net income from business. If we properly manage the deductions and the expenses that you would be able sometimes to transfer from your personal life to your business life that are appropriate, then the amount of income and the way it's taxed is much less than your W-2 tax, even if you have a bigger income. The deductions that we get from our standard deductions that can be taken they've gone up this year. So that's a big help for us. We can go up to $26,000 in standard deductions. If you have employees who are children, This is a big one. And this is really overlooked. If your kids are helping you in your business, they do some filing, they clean up, they help bring inventory in and out of your house, they go to some meetings with you occasionally for these seminars that you go to on some of these trips, you can pay up to $12,000 per year to a family employee who is a child without having to do the FICA deductions, without having to do all of the deductions that the government requires. And if you want to control that further, once you pay that $12,000 to them, they're below having to pay taxes on that. That's called income shifting. That's something that we have helped a lot of people with. There's an advantage to having a lot of kids right there. So we can move our income into their income. It's a deduction for the business, and because of their age and the activities and the amount that you pay them, it could keep them from having to pay taxes too. That's a great way to start storing money maybe for their education, higher education, if they want to do that, go to college. Or we have a lot of people that Brock works with who like to put that in insurance contracts to protect from the government even further on growth and taxes. Create a lot of credit for them for when they want to buy their home or their first car or something like that. We'll allude to some of that in a moment. The deductions are for business owners are so much greater than our itemized deductions on our W-2 income. So I want to encourage us to study some things like that. We work with a national accounting firm that we'll be happy to refer you to. And if you need someone in your own area, local accountant, CPA, that you would like to talk to about who specializes in taxes, we'll be happy to talk to them with you to help find those resources. I just said I really meant Brock and his team and them. I'm a coach to financial advisors, so I don't have to get involved in the day-to-day operations like that like you do. The next thing I would like to talk about is once you earn money in your business, you got to figure out what are you going to do with it. So let's talk about that for a moment. Why did you get in this business? You need to think through that. Everyone's going to have a different answer. Did you get in this for the income? Did you get in this so you could supplement your current job in such a way that you could leave that job and have some freedom to do so by replacing the income that you go to work for every day? Is that why you're in this business? Did you do this to eliminate debt that you might have? Did you see it as an opportunity just to pay off other debts that you might have? Valid reason. Are you doing this to take care of someone else other than yourself? Children, parents. If you're between the ages of 40 and 50 right now, I'm 54 this year, the new 30, by the way. When you look at that age range, if I were to talk to people about that in my financial planning days years ago, almost everyone became a client. And here's why. At that age, we're at what's called the midlife. And what we're doing is we're looking back at what we've not yet accomplished. And we're looking forward at what's about to come. You may have children going to college. You may be thinking about retiring from your current occupation. And you may be taking care of your parents financially and physically. And they may all be occurring at the same time. And what most people think they have to do to catch up for what they haven't done and to make up for lost time is they have to take more risks. So if they go talk to advisors are going to talk to you about how to park money with hopefully high rates of returns that carry a lot of risk. You've heard over and over, high risk is high reward. I'm going to tell you that's the last thing you need to do. And I'm saying that from 30 years of hindsight, not predicting the future. But one of the great things about Baseo is you don't have to take the risk because it's a very small financial investment for the time that you would invest into a program like this. So I would encourage you that when you look at a business opportunity like Baseo as put before you, measure the investment of time that you want to put in and to be accountable to the disciplines that will get you the outcome that you want. A lot of people jump into a business like this thinking, I'm going to make millions of dollars right off the bat. I'm not really going to do anything but sign a few people up. If we're really honest about that, it takes time. It takes effort. It takes a systematic approach to being disciplined every day. If it's 30 minutes a day, if it's an hour a day, be focused for that 30 minutes or hour a day to get the activity that you want. Don't tie yourself so much to the big number of the outcome of income, the outcome of income. Tie yourself to the disciplines you take every day to make that happen. If you tell me you want to lose 30 pounds, then you might have to eat a little different. We might have to put some exercise in. We're not just going to say, oh, I really want to lose 30 pounds, and all of a sudden we just lose 30 pounds. And we're not going to lose it all in a week. At least most of us won't. We'll have to take time. But if we measure the disciplines of how we eat and if we exercise with a starting point of a commitment, follow those disciplines, you will get to the outcomes usually that you want. Now, having said that, let's talk about cash flow asset versus building a big nest egg. I'm going to flip this board over to show you a model that Brock and his team use to make some descriptions of how money works. So, turn this over. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to talk to you about products and buying products and all that kind of stuff. What I'm going to talk to you about are economics. Okay? What you're looking at is a financial model that's been around for almost 4 decades, 38 years. And this model helps us organize our financial life. Now, I'm going to spend just a moment talking about how the model works. But on this side, it would be your family's name and situation and how you make your income and how much you are taxed in different areas. They mentioned capital gains and your marginal rate, and you talked about your business rate. Then there would be notes about how that income might come in. But then we look at where do you put your money? Protection, savings, and growth. Now, again, I'm not here to talk about products, but what we do know is for people that go through this process, just having their financial information organized helps them determine, really helps them find a lot of lost money. Because again, 30 years looking back, and I coach hundreds of advisors in Canada and the United States. And when we go and ask people to gather their financial information, sometimes they hesitate. You know, that might be a little difficult. Either because they got a lot of stuff, a lot of different places, or they don't want to face that stuff. Okay. But my question and I don't know, Ryan, if I asked you this, I know I've asked others, but if that is difficult for you to get together while you're mentally and physically healthy, how difficult will it be for someone else when you're not? So if you were talking to Brock and you walk through this, and if all you ever do is organize all of your financial information, from all of your insurance products and your wills and your trusts and your Social Security benefits in this area, to where all of your savings accounts, your 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, SEP plans, all those things are, who the beneficiaries are, how they work, to the growth components down here where your business sits, from the Viseo part, your real estate, your mutual funds and stocks and those kind of things. If all we ever did was help you organize that in a manner to where you and someone else knows where it's at, then your family's going to be in better shape than it was before. I'm going to tell you a quick story. About 18 years ago, I was in a meeting when I was in the financial practices business. And one of the guys that was working with me was my former high school baseball coach at the time. He had retired from baseball and retired coaching in college and had come to work for me for a little while. With me, not for me, but with me. And he had introduced us to a family that we both knew, and they were going through this process, and I came in a little late for an appointment, coming from another one, and they're sitting in my conference room, and my assistant, the husband and wife, and the coach, they're all in tears. So I walk in and I said, you know, what's up? Tell me what's up. He said, the husband said, Trent, you may remember that we rescheduled this appointment from 3 weeks ago to today, and the reason we did that is because his father had died. And I'm just, you know, I'm walking. That's the first time I'd heard that. So I'm sorry to hear that. We walked through that for a moment. He said, He said, but that's not why we were crying. When I looked at the table, they had the box that we gave everybody, just a plastic box. It was a filing system that had all of their financial life together. I said, well, why does that make you cry? He said, Trent, we spent 3 days with my mother and my sister just trying to find enough documents to be able to bury my father. If we had had his financial life organized, we would have been able to spend 3 days reminiscing on the memories, the experiences that we've had together, and remove all of that stress from our lives. He said, you honestly have no idea what you just did for my family by organizing this tool for us. That was the day I learned the value of organization of financial. That's one of the days. There's been many more. And I'm going to tell you that many times in my life, I have failed this because I feel like I can do it all by myself and should as the husband of the family. And that's not the right way to do it. It's got to be a teamwork approach. I've been reminded of that, thankfully, several times. So one of the things that we have to do through all of this business, all of the business, not just the accumulation of wealth and the building of wealth, is to organize ourselves so we know where we're going. Another thing I would encourage you on is, I'm going to get into something here in a moment, but one of the things I really would encourage you on is you're looking at your financial life. Do you have an idea of how to play this game? Most of the people that we've ever talked to, I don't care how sophisticated they are, how much wealth they have. We've talked to people who have had hundreds of millions of dollars and people just starting out. Most of the people that play the financial game are playing with the tools of money without knowing the rules. The rules constantly change. And where do you get those rules? Most of the time you get those rules from the financial institutions of the government, investment houses, banks, and insurance companies. Have you ever stopped to think, do they play by the same set of rules that they teach us to play by? And they don't. That would be like me going out to play golf today with Tiger Woods. And he says, hey, Trent, you tee off first. Hey, by the way, while we're doing this, why don't we just have a little friendly wager? It'll just be a little bit. Would you like to do that? I'm playing with Tiger Woods. Why not? Let's do it. So I walk up to the first tee, and I hit one that I felt really good about right down the middle of the fairway, about 305. Might be a bit of an exaggeration, but 305. Down the middle, that might also be a little exaggeration. But down the middle, Tiger's clapping. He said, feel good? Yes, sir. I feel good about that. He hits his, and he hits his about 325. But it goes to the right, beyond the white stake that's over there. And we both start walking to our ball, and I'm thinking, I got an advantage on Tiger Woods right off the bat. I'm in the middle of the fairway. One of my best shots ever, and he's out of bounds. We get down there, and he says, hey, Trent, what are you waiting on? You need to go ahead and hit. I said, wait a minute, you're out of bounds. He said, oh, I forgot to tell you, today, where I'm playing from is inbounds, and where you're at is out of bounds. I'll tell you that story to think of this. If you don't know the rules of the game, and the game's rules can change, and who changes them? Those in charge of the rules. How in the world do you have any chance of winning this game? So what we do, what Brock does, is we want to help people know how to play by the same rules that those institutions play by, not what they teach you to play by. I'll give you one more story. I was in a conference in Las Vegas 15 years ago with the guy that created that system. And the last night we go into the casino at our hotel. And we said, well, let's play a little blackjack. So we sit down at the table. There's 8 seats. He's on one end. There's 3 people next to him, and then me, and then a few more people. And about every 5 minutes or so, people would look down at their hand at a card, and then they'd place their bet. And we noticed they were doing it. They've been there 30 minutes. We noticed they kept doing that. Well, he tapped the guy on the shoulder next to him. He said, hey, do you mind if I ask you, what are you looking at? He said, well, it's suggestions on how to play blackjack, how to bet on blackjack for a chance to win. I said, really? Who gave you that? He said, well, the casino did on the way in. Why in the world would the casino give you a card on how to beat them? So if you're going to follow information on how to work Test the information. Okay? Test the information. If you are going to receive your income, then you got to know where you place it. Okay, so I'm going to give you some words of wisdom. I'm going to flip the page back over if I can do that. Can you help me? There are some rules that you need to think about. Rule number 1 is, I'm going to erase Brock's name. Rule number 1, when you receive any income whatsoever from your current business, Vaseo, or anything else, is pay you first. For you to get ahead of taxes, fees, opportunity cost, inflation, technological change, planned obsolescence, things that you're going to have to replace in your lifetime, just to get ahead, you're going to need to save between 15 to 20% of every dollar that comes in. Save it. Park it. Someplace that's liquid, someplace that's safe. The next thing that you have to do is you need to protect that money from being lost. So if it is placed in things that have a high degree of risk, mutual funds, stocks, those kind of things, you could run the risk of losing the money that you invested. Now, those aren't bad things, but knowing the balance and how to get to those is very important. But you got to protect it from those type things. You need to protect it from taxes. So if you're going to put it someplace that it grows, you want the money to grow, but there's a risk. There's a risk of taxes, both base taxes where they are and future taxes are where they may go. We're currently in the lowest tax rate in this country that we've had in quite some time. We're also at the highest peak of the stock market that we've been at in quite some time. Those kind of lead to the fact that things are going to change. They always change, but that kind of lends itself to say taxes may have to go up and earnings rates may go down. So we want to protect ourselves from taxes. If you paid $1 in tax today to the government, especially when that maybe you didn't have to because you didn't take your deductions prior, but if you're following a strategy where your taxes are continuing to increase on your earnings, you got to ask, if I give Uncle Sam $1 in tax, what is he going to pay me back on that dollar? What rate of return? You're going to lose it all. Guaranteed loss. You're going to lose 100% of what you put in it, and then you're also going to lose what you could have earned had you kept it. Like, could I put it back in my sales business? Could I have more to go in for marketing? Could I have more to go in for team building or my own product? So we have to protect it from additional, and those are called lost opportunity costs, LOCs. Fundamental in economics. Probably not talked to you much about in your own personal economy. Fundamental, and so fundamental, in fact, if you pick up a textbook on macroeconomics or microeconomics, it's going to be in the forward or the first few chapters of the book. You pick up any economics book. Marketing economics, mechanical economics, engineering economics. It's in every one of the books. And that means, what's the best alternative use for my money? Another thing is your health. That's a risk. If you have deposits that you're making to something consistently today, do you have anything in writing that says if you get disabled and you're too sick or hurt to work, that deposits can continue? If you build a business of residual income through Vaseo, or you have rental income from properties, or you have royalties coming in, that is a form of protection in the event you get disabled, because you don't really have to continue to work on some of those things to produce that income. But if you're having to work to produce your income and you got too sick or hurt to work, do you have anything in writing that says someone else is going to make those deposits for you from now until that magic age of retirement or slowing down? If you don't have those words, Brock is someone that can help you to find those and to help optimize all of your wealth choices and where money's going. But what about if you got a terminal illness? Do you have to liquidate your accounts, or are there ways to have money advanced to you? What if you have to have long-term care, or your parents do? Are you in a position that you'll be able to protect them and make sure that that income remains yours? What if you get sued? Is your income protected in a way where it's not going to be garnished, or where you don't have to liquidate your accounts because you have been sued? And when you've been sued, most of us don't make good, wise decisions. When you're under stress and panic, bad decisions occur. I know that. I've been through that. Ryan's shaking his head. He's been through that. And if you're going to be in business for any amount of time, if you're going to live life, you got to learn how to deal with those things when they're thrown at you. Okay? It's not the fact that they will occur. The great thing is, how do you bounce back from those things? How do you excel? How do you continue? How do you grow? What story do you tell yourself to improve further? A lot of people also try to protect these things by buying insurance. And some of the types of insurance they buy, they look for the least expense or the least premium for it. And most of the time, when you pay for something with the least outlay, it's going to disappear. It's going to be a guaranteed zero later in life. So what we want to have are clients positioning all their assets so that not only do they have the most options while they build their wealth, but when it's time to take income from all resources, that they have the ability to take the most income possible with the least amount of tax possible. There's things you can do there on how you coordinate your beneficiaries on your retirement plans and your insurance products and your real estate and charities, and how you can put these things together. Most people, when they go through life financially, they are focused on, where do I put my money? What's the rate of return? How do I protect my family in the event of a loss? So if a car broke down, I'm going to replace the whole car. I'm not going to replace part of the car. If my home burned down, I'm going to build back the same home. I'm not going to build back part of the home. So most of the time when they talk about in their life insurance side, these advisors will tell me people are only protecting 3 to 5 years of their income. That's like only building back the closet in the house that you have. Why would you want that to occur? So talk about how to optimize all of those resources and coordinate that with your other growth of assets. How are we doing on time, Ryan? 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Awesome. Thank you. So there's a few things we need to talk about on mastering your money, mastering your business opportunity. You don't wake up a master. It takes work, and it takes teamwork. So what you have to have in your sale business is what Ryan's offering, some of the other our leadership, and someone who's already been down the path of where you want to go. The great thing about this, even though it's a young company, you've got leadership in the company that's already been pioneers before you, so that you don't have to be a pioneer. You don't have to have the people shooting the arrows and the guns at you and clearing the path along the trail. You've already got people who have done that for you. With the new, I studied this a bit yesterday, Ryan, is the game plan, the booklet that you have. You don't just walk out and play a game and not know what the plan is. You got to have a good offense and a good defense. And one of the things I loved about the booklet that you gave out is there's very detailed approach to the disciplines that you need to follow to have a successful business. There's a model already in place. That's why I love that financial thing that I showed you with what Brock used, because there's a model already in place. There's rules to the model. There's a game board. There's his financial questionnaire. He's showing that to me. So when you walk through this process in life, you need to have a game and a goal. You need to have an activity goal to support the income goal that you're looking for. And you need to be able to share that goal with enough other people that you want to walk arm in arm with them to help them do the same thing. One of the things we talked about when we entered at the level that we did with the what's it Go for Gold pack, is that what it's called? When we purchased that, one of the questions I asked Ryan was, is this what we should be encouraging other people to do when they get in this business? He's shaking his head, yes. So my experience has been people want to know, what are you doing? Why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And so if we can demonstrate by example where we need to go and then walk arm in arm with the people that we're bringing on into the team, would we not all have a greater vested interest in the success of the team? There's no reason to be what's called a wandering generality. That's what Zig Ziglar used to call it. A lot of people walking around not knowing where they're going to go and why they're going to get there. If you have an idea of who your ideal prospect for you is, who do you get along best with? What are their characteristics? What's their family situation? What's their education? What's their financial situation? Where do they live? What are their goals in life? Are they coachable? Do they want to take something on that would be successful for them? If you can answer those questions and know who those people are before you start, you're going to have a much higher probability of you both having success as you move forward. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you, Brock? Ryan's shaking his head, yes. All right. So, one, we're about to wrap up. Maybe have a few questions if you like, but if we can do that, Ryan, can we do that? Do we have the ability? Okay, he said we should be able to. But before you do that, a couple things. I would want to challenge you to take a real serious look at what you want to do, not only in your Paseo business, but what you want to do financially in your life. Why is it important to you to have more? One of my coaches, a guy that coached me many years ago, hit me really hard right across the forehead with a 2x4 and a question he asked me. He said, what are the names of the people in your life that are going to suffer until you reach your potential? Boy, that hurt. That hurt. Being accountable to that question further, he said, I want you to get a picture of who those people are. I want you to write their names down. I want you to take that with you everywhere you go to help you reinforce your why you're doing it. Are you in this business because you have to prove something? To who? To you? To someone else? Are you in this business to create your own security? There's not a lot of security out there in the business world anymore. You just look at how people are getting downsized, outsized, resized, early retirement packages to get people out. The best thing about being in business for yourself is that word retirement should not exist. If you look up the word retire, that means to take out of service. And Ryan set up a phone call with Dylan with us the other day. Colin, I'm sorry, I didn't say his name right. But the founder of this business, he was nice enough to spend some time with us, and he came out of retirement to get this business going. Retirement means to take out of service. One of the best things about being in your own business with a purpose is that you don't ever have to come out of service. In fact, you'll do more when you take on the internal value of serving others. Brian said one of the things that we might be able to do, if you're not doing this for an income, that's just a byproduct of doing things, that maybe it's to bless others so that they might have that opportunity. One other question that hit me really hard by one of my coaches that I've shared with Brock and a lot of others is, what excuse is good enough for you to accept that you're not going to be who you want to be, that you're not going to take the next step? What excuse are you willing to accept? Those things wake us up. So here's where I'm going to end my part of the presentation. I'm very proud of what Brock can do, and with you on the financial side, I would encourage you, whether you guys are ever doing business together or not, to contact Brock, follow through, and see where you might find areas that you're currently losing money unnecessarily, and find a way to put that back in your life so that you can bless others and bless yourself. The other thing that I would say is we're honored to be a part of the program for Paseo as a teammate, and that we'll be happy to talk to people and help bring them into this. The timing is right. Timing is everything. I heard you say that. We just ordered our kits, so we're looking forward to using the products too. That's probably a great piece of this whole puzzle. But the big part is why. Why are you moving forward with this business for you? Get real clear on that. And if you need some help with directions and asking questions on that, I'll be glad to help you with that. Brian, what's next? It's up to you now. we have to give it back to you. Can you see how to do that?
Okay, I think I got it back. Can you guys hear me now?
We can.
All right. Well, that was fantastic, you guys. Thank you. I'm gonna scroll through. Yeah, Cheryl's clapping. I love it. Let me just see something here. We have a lot of obviously people that RSVP'd that didn't make it on here, and that's typical. I'm grateful that we got it recorded. I think what I could do is I want to know if anybody has any questions. You guys can either hit the little raise your hand button on your Zoom screen, or you can wave your hands in front of your camera and I can try to unmute you. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll through here the different views I can see and see if anybody's kind of waving their hands in the air or anything. But that was great stuff. I took notes. I took quite a bit of notes, so I love what you guys shared. And Barbara, do you have a question? Yeah, Barbara took a lot of notes. Nancy took a lot of notes. Everybody's kind of holding their notes up to their cameras. That's great. That's what it's all about. Well, let me just say this then. These guys are the real deal. They're authentic. They're genuine. They're team players. As I've been sharing with all of you guys that are part of our Viseo family, that it doesn't always have to be people that necessarily need Viseo for some immediate financial outcome, because Brock and Trent don't. But yet here they are as new Go for Gold brand partners with us. And yes, I did put them on the phone with Dallin because I just felt like these guys have the ability to impact a lot of people. Their hearts are in the right place, and I wanted them to know the heart of Dallin. But what I can tell you guys, what that means for all of you, is that they mean what they say. When they say that they're available to you, reach out to them. They mean that. They're driven more by helping people, whether or not we do business together or not, like they just said. And so I want to encourage all of you who are on here today. Don't dismiss the idea that you can't reach out to them. They want to help you. They really, really do. That's their motivation for what they do, is simply to help people to make impact. Let's see. Okay, so here's a question that just came in, guys. Any recommended money/time logging apps? So what apps do you guys recommend for people to track money they're spending and track their time?
I think that's a great question, and we have resources up which we didn't bring with us. Why don't we do this? If you recorded the questions as well for everyone that RSVP'd, we'll send that in a follow-up back out to everybody.
Okay, so
fair?
Okay, let's see. Cheryl has a question. Cheryl, let me unmute you. All right, Cheryl, you're live.
Okay, so my question is, when you get a 1099, so people sign up with Viseo, they sign up with their name, they use their social security number. And you talked about paying yourself first or paying other people out of what you receive. So obviously he's getting the money himself, my husband, so he wouldn't make himself a paycheck, but he could potentially pay me for helping him. Is that correct?
He could, yes, he could. And it also depends on how you own the business. Do you own it as a sole proprietor, an LLC, or a corporation? So if it's sole proprietor, which most people will be, he can pay you, and there can be some deductions allowed there. You have to, we need to get more specific on the overall capacity of what's going on financially, but yes, there are options for that.
Okay.
Trent, let me ask a follow-on question to that. So in that same hypothetical, so Cheryl's husband is Dr. Tony Smith. You guys will get to know him. They're two of our top leaders, Tony and Cheryl. You'll see them a lot. They share the workload of us leading this team as a team. It takes an army to lead an army, and they're two of the greatest leaders that this industry has ever seen. So you'll get very familiar with Dr. Tony and Cheryl. So in this hypothetical, let's say Tony is going to deduct, he's able to pay Cheryl, and that creates a deduction for the inbound 1099 income. Can Cheryl then in turn take some deductions from her portion of the income that she was being paid?
The overriding question on all of this is, are you filing as married, filing jointly, or
Yes.
is there a business entity in the middle? And that will make the And it's easy to set up a business like an LLC or a corporate event to maximize some of those deductions. It would be taxed a little differently, but yes, there's ways to do that. If you're filing jointly to begin with, you can name staff on who you would pay. The deduction that I mentioned with children is a unique deduction because most of the time their income level, especially if they're still in school and they're younger, their income's not high enough that if you pay them up to $12,000, that their other income is not such that it would throw them in a taxable event. That's a way to shift income to children, and it specifically says children, that you can do that too. Now, if you have a business entity that you are paying staff for, but if you are married, filing jointly in a sole proprietorship, it's still income to you. Does that answer?
Yeah, thank you. It does. Let's see if anybody else has any other questions. Cheryl, are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Then let me click through here and see if anybody else is waving their hands or. All right, I don't see any. I don't see any other questions. All right, well, listen, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up then. And again, I'll get the recording link out. What I did was, because I wasn't sure from like a cloud space capacity standpoint, what the, if there was any limitation. So I recorded this directly to my hard drive. I will get it uploaded to probably our Vimeo account or perhaps YouTube, and we'll get the link out to everybody. We'll post it in Frontline Mastermind so you guys can start sharing this with your team. This was tremendous content, obviously. It's going to help start the thought process and the, hopefully the conversation with the rest of the team. If they've got a relationship with a tax preparer, with a CPA, with an accountant, a lot of what I think Trent shared today can help guide that dialogue, obviously, like they offered. And I would take them up on this, right? Trent said that if you want them to even ride shotgun, if you will, in a conversation, if someone's got a long-term relationship, again, with someone who's maybe guiding them, but they're maybe not as aware or familiar with things specifically as it relates to a home-based business, for example. And a lot of them aren't, by the way. A lot of accountants are somewhat generalized in nature, and there's potentially things that they may not be aware of, where there's additional value on the table for you guys with your Viseo businesses. So I would just finish off by saying thank you, Trent. Thank you, Brock. Grateful for you guys for today. Obviously, I'm really grateful that we get to lock arms and go impact people and build our Viseo businesses together. And you guys are going to be a welcome addition to this team. And clearly, we're going to be working you into the mix, Trent. I'm glad that you volunteered your willingness to share. And I know that's a passion for you. I know you do a lot of teaching, training, public speaking, and it shows. And so we love tapping people's gifts and talents. And so get ready. And that's going to go for you as well, Brock. Don't think you're going to escape this, because I know what you're capable of from the little bit of time we spent, and I know what you're looking to grow into. And so this is going to be fun, you guys. So thank you for taking the time to kind of get this going. This won't be the last one of these that we do. As we get feedback that comes back our way from people that watch the recording, Trent and Brock, why don't we make a plan that I'll feed that to you guys, let's say over the next 30 days, and then maybe some of the most frequently asked questions, we can do another one of these if you guys like the idea of that, nod your heads, and then maybe they can drill a little deeper on specific topics as we get people who want, maybe a little bit more insight as to some of the specifics. And so if that sounds good to everybody, we'll look at what kind of feedback we get over the next 30 days. And so again, Brock, you're awesome. Trent, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Barbara's clapping. Some of the people are clapping. And so I can unmute. Actually, let me unmute everybody, and you guys can thank Brock. You can thank Trent, and I hope everybody has an amazing, blessed Saturday. I'm going to get out of here and go hook up with Jolene. She's out showing the plan right now, and then we're going to go and fill in for Rob up in Greenville, Tennessee. So we got a 4-hour drive, and we're going to go show the plan up there tonight at 7 p.m. So let me unmute it. You guys can, everybody can sign off here. All right, everybody should be unmuted.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. That was great information.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And welcome to the team, the family.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, I have to run. Thank you again.
All right. See you guys. I'm going to go ahead
That part.
and end the recording. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.